Well, hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and you know what that means? This means it's Thursday evening. It is October 15. We're already halfway there. Halfway to what? Halfway to Halloween. And the end of the month of October, of course. But hey, you know, we're heading down this path to end October, but we're going to take this stop here. We're going to take a nice little moment to just hang around and talk about professional wrestling for the next hour or so. With me, Mr. Warren Hayes, and I can't thank you everyone for joining me again this evening, because yes, everyone joining me here this evening, because I record the Mr. Warren Hayes Show live every Thursday night. Yeah, every Thursday. Why did I blank out on that? Every Thursday night on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. 9 p.m. Eastern is when we get the kickoff, when we get going. And I appreciate all of you showing up this evening, because there are a ton of fantastic people, again, here in the chat. A lot of names that we recognize by now, if you're a frequent listener to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, such as Tim Traver. Good to see you, Tim. Robert Larry is here as well. Hello, Robert Larry. Good to see you. Kelly Tonjes is here as well. Good to see you, Kelly. We've got Joe, Go Indie Now, who's here as well. Good to see you. Benoit in the chat. What's up? Let's see who else we have. We have Mr. Fretz, who's here. Good to see you, Mr. Fretz. Mark Forbes. Carlos is here as well. How are you, Carlos? We've got Tony Wiegand is here. Nick Wolf as well. Nikki. Anakin is here. DGMC. By God, fellows, I just might have a stroke if I keep going on like this. I'm kidding. I'm not going to have a stroke. I'm as healthy as a horse. Well, at least I'm not going to have a stroke, I'm pretty sure. Would make for some compelling views, though. Probably get the subscriber count up quite a bit. Let's go a little dark. It's Halloween season. What are you going to do about it? We have to have some dark comedy once in a while. Thomas Gories just jumped in as well. Hola, Senor Gories. Anyway, look. Here's the thing. JK Schwal, how you doing? So listen, here's the thing. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you're watching right now, consider giving the video a thumbs up here on YouTube. That stuff, it really, really does help out. Toss the link out into the universe. Get some more people in here. It's fun. It's a good time. And I appreciate you tuning in here on YouTube. Or even if you're listening to this on your own accord, you can give it a thumbs up as well. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, I thank you guys tons as well. Thank you so much for listening to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show on your favorite podcast application. I keep saying it week after week. The viewership, or the audience, I should say, because you don't view a podcast, but the audience is growing on the audio side every week. Thank you so much. Continue doing whatever you're doing, whatever type of love or appreciation that you're showing over there with a review, a like, a subscription. That stuff really is fantastic. Man, you know what else is fantastic? It happened a little earlier today. This was something that I had been sitting on for a while, and I was really excited to share it with you. I was looking forward to it, and it all came together, and I had, but I had to be very secretive about it. But I've been working alongside the PWI people, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, to release their top 100 women's list. I actually got to do the reveal show this morning with their editor-in-chief, Kevin, who came on the show. We had pre-recorded it, came on the show, set it up this morning so that it would release on the day that the digital edition of the PWI Women's 100 magazine would be released. And it was fantastic. And I can't tell you how privileged and honored I was to be able to have my be a part of all of this. As you guys know, women's wrestling is a big deal to me. I think it's one of the hills that your boy, one of the very seldom hills that your boy Warren is ready to die on. So I was really, really excited that I got to work with them. And through Bell to Bells as well, I've recorded interviews with a bunch of women's wrestlers who charted on the top 100. And over on Bell to Bells, we are going to be releasing those interviews one a day. There's about a total, 25 interviews, something like that. Video, audio, and written interviews. I didn't conduct them all, but I did conduct a bunch. And I got to talk, with Session Moth Martina. That's the first interview that we recorded today. That's the first one that we recorded today. So I suggest you go check it out. It's on the Bell to Bells channel, and why don't you subscribe there while you're at it? It's right there. And I've also interviewed Nicole Savoy, Priscilla Kelly, Hyann, Lufisto, Shaza McKenzie, and more. You're going to want to subscribe to the Bell to Bells channel. You're going to want to keep an eye on all of that. We've got interviews with Faye Jackson as well, Solo Darling. Oh, yeah. It's just pouring. I've been working so hard to get all of this done, and I'm so glad that we're going to be able to share it all with you. Belltobells.com, BELLTO, BELLES, the website, the Twitter, and then the YouTube channel. Go check all of that out. It was so, it's so great, and it's so cool that these women are very excited about the PWI Women's 100 and their positioning and everything. It was released earlier today, but man, check out the talk that I had with Kevin earlier today. It's on the channel, but not right now. Stick around right now for the live show. But go check that out later. It's also available on podcast format. All the interviews are going to be. I can't tell you how appreciative I was. It was such an honor for me to do it. It's fantastic, and I hope you take advantage of it. Just like I hope you take advantage of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show Discord. For fuck's sake! I don't know why that suddenly became so aggressive, but head on over. It's links in the description. Sign, join up, come talk wrestling. We have a channel where all we do is live chat, talk about pro wrestling as we go along, as shows appear, and there's people there for all sorts of shows. The AEW evenings are pretty special. There are a lot of people there, so come on over. Sign up. It's free. It's a good time. It's good for everyone. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's good for everybody. Also, the Patreon is good for you, good for me, good for everybody, especially after the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I do a post stream for patrons only. So if you want to come and join us there, you head on over to patreon.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. You become a member at the Power Pal tier, and you have access to the post show. And tonight, well, we're gonna be talking about music, and this is a topic I've been pushing back for a couple of weeks, but not because I want to, just because things happen. We're gonna be talking about WWE theme music and why it sucks so hard these days and why it's important at the same time in the overall presentation and appreciation of a character. We're gonna and I take calls from the patrons, so we can actually exchange voice chat things, as they used to say back in the 20th century. We can have a conversation. If you join the Patreon, you join the Discord, you jump in, take calls from the Discord. It's a good time. Come and check that out right after the Mr. Warren Hayes Show official stream. And you can also join this channel here over on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. If you like to come in the live show and you want some extra emojis just to, throw your weight around, you can join the channel to become a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, and you'll get some extra emojis that you can use in the live chat. And of course, you can also leave super chats, and I will read your question or comment live as we're going along here on the air. And we've already got some here. There's some super chats as I see here, as I'm just looking at the corner of my eye, that I might reserve for later when we're talking about these topics. But let's chat a bit with Tim Traver here, who left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Tim. It says, I want to tell everyone I'm on Throwback's audio podcast this Saturday noon. Wow, that's cool, Tim. So make sure, find our boy Throwback. He's on YouTube. He's on podcast platforms now because he's blowing up. He's getting huge. So he's got our boy Tim Traver there on the show. So head on over there and make sure that you do become that you do follow Throwback and listen to Tim this Saturday. Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you so very, very much. Anakin says, become a patron to be there for the post show. There you go. See, if to see if DGMC will ever get a mic, or if Ben and I will continue to give him grief over it. That's a running gag for the patrons. DGMC week after week keeps telling us, I'm going to get a microphone and I'm going to I'll be in some calls. He never does it. I predict more grief tonight. Do come over and join us on the post stream. Zach Barber left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Zach. I appreciate it. He says, Becky should have repeated. The difference between Bex and Bayley is 4 months. Can't beat the GOAT during her GOAT run without Sasha at SummerSlam. You can't beat the GOAT during her GOAT run. I think we're talking about Becky Lynch. Yeah, it's a little more than 4. No, it is 4 months. No, that's right. Yeah, it's about 4 months. Hey, you know what? Look, the list. I know there was, the list was, we're talking about the PWI Women's 100 here, obviously. There was a lot of discussion in the list over on the panel. Like, I wasn't involved in the discussion, right? I wasn't a part of the panel. I'm just a mouthpiece, and just a good-looking mouthpiece, but just a mouthpiece nonetheless. I know my role. But I do know that when it came to picking the number one spot for the list, it was unquestionably Bayley. Everyone sort of, there was no arguments. Everyone sort of agreed. I mean, look, it's a list made up by committee. Becky at number 2, I think, is absolutely fair. Who knows what she could have done, but I mean, Bayley had such a stellar run, and there's a whole bunch of things that come into play here. If you want to hear the criteria, do listen to the show with Kevin earlier today. Anakin left us a super chat again. Thank you very much, Anakin. He says, everyone knows I'm a huge Becky fan, but even to me, she seemed high at number 2. Bayley, though, deserved that number 1 spot. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's hard to deny that Bayley had an absolute stellar year moving forward. It's hard to not agree on that. Go Indy Now left us a super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. He says, great show this morning. Loved it. Thank you very much. I'm glad you tuned in. I think were you there live? I don't remember if you were there live for the premiere, but thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It was a fun show to do. Mr. Fretz left us a super chat as well. Thank you very much. My God, there's a lot of super chats. He says, Dragunov versus Walter and Wolf from NXT UK equals match of the year candidate. Okay, I got to check that out. I've been woefully abandoned my NXT UK watching just out of, I mean, there's only so many hours in a day, and we're in G1 season. What are you going to do? I'll definitely check it out. Thank you very much for the recommendation there, Fretzy boy. Hope you don't mind me calling you Fretzy boy. Yeah, so there we go. We got some super chats still in the tank for some G1 discussion. So let's go right ahead with the weekly G1 recap. We are... I'm starting the show over. It's like a fresh coat of paint when we talk about the G1. It's like, hey, let's do this again kind of thing. We're in the final stretch of the G1. This past week we had again 4 more nights of action, and we've only got 2 more moving forward. So I'm gonna go through the matches, but the nights and the matches, of course. But I do want to reserve some time to talk about the speculation over the next 2 nights. That's where we're very, very excited about. First of all, night 13, we had Jeff Cobb defeating Tomohiro Ishii. Cobb's G1 honestly, towards the end, has been on the rise, and I think he hit a top here. I don't think it's going to. I think he. I mean, I can be surprised. Please allow me to be surprised. But I think, like this was the ceiling that Jeff Cobb had to give this one, especially considering his upcoming opponents. This was fantastic. What a great match. Right up my alley. Two huge guys just throwing each other around. It was fantastic. I loved it. I was a bit surprised that he won, but good. More points for Cobb. He's going to end up with a decent score at the end of the G1. Jay White defeated Yujiro Takahashi. The Tokyo Beam says but it's not it wasn't about the match itself, right? The Yujiro White match wasn't about the match. Yujiro was supposed to lay, obviously there. Look, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, Jay White is the de facto leader of or the proper leader of Bullet Club. And I say proper because while he wasn't wrestling, Evil sort of took a leadership position. It's not quite clear yet where we're heading with this. That being said, I think it was organized. White and Yujiro talked backstage, and White said, look, you're going to lay down for me so I can move forward. Yujiro knows his place in the pecking order of the Bullet Club, and is like, yes, boss. And so Yujiro lies down in the ring, but White goes to cover him, but Yujiro kicks out, and White is like, what are you doing? He does it again, and he kicks out. So this, I thought, so then they actually start fighting, but this was a very short match, and I thought this was going to be Yujiro's big win, because he's still at 0 points right now. He's got one more night. He still hasn't won a single match, and I thought this was going to be the one, and that it was going to send really some deep frictions, but no, White picked up the win. Gedo distracts the ref. White low blows. Blade Runner. Thank you. Good night. It was great, but you know what? You can tell Jay White is a little suspicious now. And Gedo was kind of acting like Snake Gedo when he was talking to Jay, because Jay was asking Gedo, did you know about this? Did you fix this up? And Gedo was like, I don't know. No, I don't know. In his wonderful Japanese accent. It was amazing. I don't know. It's great stuff. I love this match. I loved it, but I mean, because it's Jay White, right? Because it's Jay White. Just like J.K. Schwal left us a super chat. Thank you very much. J.K. Schwal says, Jay White fucking rules hard. And yes, god damn it, he does. He's been so happy to be back wrestling in front of crowds, and it shows. And I think he's better than he's ever been. His matches are much tighter than they were. I fucking love Jay White, man. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much. Going to circle back to Jeff Cobb for a second. He says, Cobb has proved a lot of New Japan pro wrestling purists wrong, in my opinion. Yeah, did purists dislike Cobb? Because I think Cobb and New Japan fans have always had a very likable relationship. I think maybe a lot of purists weren't expecting much out of him, right? But I don't think it was ever out of dislike. It was more like, oh, Cobb is there and he's going to eat some losses so that just to pad Osprey and Okada and Ibushi. But no, he actually had a really good tournament, and I really think his skill kept rising. But okay, so yeah, I guess I agree with you, Evan. Ultimately, we probably did end up proving some purists wrong in that direction. I'm just looking at a couple of other super chats here. Give me a second real quick. I don't want to miss out on anything. This one I'll save for later again. And yeah, this one I'll save for later. Okay, let's keep moving. Shingo. No, not Shingo. Will Osprey defeated Taichi again. I love Taichi in this match. I thought it was really, really strong. Osprey put on another great performance, and Taichi's just been having it. He's been good. I like this match a lot. It was a good time, a very, very, very good time. Kodabushi defeated Minoru Suzuki. This was incredibly solid. This such a great ground game and such potent strikes from both guys. A flurry of strikes. There's a moment where there's this flurry of strikes that just gets faster and faster and faster, and then they start to they start paintbrushing each other across the face. And Suzuki is smiling at the end. He's smiling while he's getting pinned. And he did that with Jon Moxley as well. When Suzuki smiles when he's getting pinned, it's because he's very, very satisfied about his match. He loved this. I loved it. I was thrilled with it. He should be too. This was one of my favorite matches of the tournament so far. This so much fun. And Kazuchiko Kada defeated Shingo Takagi. So much for my big Takagi push this year, right, kids? My God, that was bad on my part. Look, you remember last week when I was saying that the Okada matches weren't as good, and everyone was going around saying, "Oh, Okada's lost it," in one hand, and on the other hand saying, "Well, this is a story they're telling, right?" Well, look, this is the story that they're telling. This is the story of Kazuchika Okada making us believe that he wasn't the best anymore, that he didn't have it anymore. But in his match with Shingo on night 13, we started seeing shining glimpses, more than glimpses, shining bolts of lightning from the Rainmaker. Shingo at some point broke out of the money clip, and I was like, my God, he's got to go with the Rainmaker now because Shingo's breaking out of it. There were teases for the Rainmaker, and Shingo even did some Rainmakers on his own, but Okada won with the money clip nonetheless. Shingo passed out, and Shingo put up a hell of a fight before the money clip did it. So, goddamn, if this wasn't great. It really was. It really was great. It strongly establishes the money clip as a legitimate finisher, that Okada is getting his groove back. Everyone was saying, "Oh, his matches suck." It was a work. It was a story they were telling, moving Okada back up the card. This was so good. Was this the best night of the G1 this year? Yes. Night 13 was absolutely the best evening of wrestling that the G1 had to give us. Block A, my God. Let's move on to Block B. On night 14, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Yoshihashi. Bravo to Zack Sabre Jr. for trying his damnness to make me believe that he couldn't get out of the butterfly lock, and I couldn't buy it. I just could not buy it. I was like, Jesus, Zack, you're the submission specialist. You're supposed to be able to find a way to sneak out of anything. Why aren't you sneaking out of the butterfly lock? So kudos for him. But he gets the win over another good match with Yoshihashi. That's the thing. This is wild. It's like Yoshihashi just keeps having good matches this tournament. It's kind of cuckoo crazy. Kenta defeated Toru Yano, the king of pro wrestling. This was okay. It was fun. And Kenta had more fun in this match than I expected he would, so that was good. Sonata defeated Juice Robinson. This was okay. It was a fine match again. Good showing by both. Another solid performance by Juice Robinson. That's good, Hiroki Goto defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi in one of B Block's best matches of the entire tournament. Big win for Goto on top of that. This was really good. Tanahashi was working the knee, was working Hiroki Goto's knee because Tanahashi's been trying to end the matches with his standing cloverleaf. It's not a standing one. It's just a regular old cloverleaf. So that's mostly been his strategy. My God, we even got a super Ushigoroshi by Hiroki Goto during this match. Tanahashi doesn't have to take these types of bumps. He really doesn't, but he still does, and we love him for it. Goto got the win with the GTR. What more do you want here? It's fantastic stuff. Evil defeated Naito, and boy, did I groan, because that means that they are both up with the same total amount of points. They're still trying to keep Evil strong as a main event heel player. But look, this wasn't a bad match, and I liked it more than their summer struggle match because the Dick Togo shenanigans were really, really toned down. It really worked, right? It just worked on that evening. There were some shenanigans, but they were much more toned down. It really annoyed the shit out of me at Summer Struggle, to be perfectly honest. Evan Wright left us a couple of super chats. Thank you, Evan, very much. Says, first super chat says, Suzuki is just the best. I refuse counterpoints. I ain't going to give you any, because my God. And he's a guy who gets off on pure presence of character. Like, he commands what the audience gives back to him. That's what's wild about this 52-year-old man. Or is he older? 54? I don't remember. This man who's over 50. I will never generate that kind of effect in a couple of years when I'm in my 50s. No one's going to be like, ah! Or maybe they are, but for other reasons. Because they can't stand my voice, for instance. The other super chat that Evan left us, thank you again, Evan, says, Shingo got the money clip over with me. He did it. Yup. Yes. Absolutely impeccable selling on it. Good stuff. Made it look credible. I agree. He helped our boy Kazu on that one. On 9:15, we had Jeff Cobb defeating Will Osprey in a bit of a surprise. Don't call it an upset, but it was an upset. I wasn't expecting that. But again, another strong match by Cobb. Osprey being tossed around again is a sight to behold because he's very, very big now. So there you go. That was good stuff. Kodabushi defeated Yujiro Takahashi. The Tokyo Beam! Again. Again, this was fine. There's nothing to write home about. It was okay. Taichi defeated Shingo Takagi. Again, another loss for our boy Shingo. This was super strong. Super duper duper strong. Taichi was all business. Shingo was all business, despite Taichi's nonsense. Where he was turning around and, pulling the pants off. And when he pulled his pants, when he did the pants flinging thing, oh man, Shingo just lost it. He just beat the shit out of him. I love this match. Shocker win by Taichi. I would call this an upset. Wouldn't you call this an upset? I would. But Taichi's been good. What are you going to do? He's been really, really good at what he's been doing. So I'm okay with it. Jay White defeated Minoru Suzuki in one of the best matches of the tournament. Unquestionably. What a fun fucking match this was. It was Jay White getting punished for being Jay White. Suzuki just did everything possible to a human being. He did it to White. White just ate it for the majority of this match. He ate it. And Suzuki was more than happy to deliver it. Even most of Gato's interference couldn't do it, but you know. What are you going to do? Jay White manages to get the win. But this is what I mean. This is the kind of match that I think Jay White is really able to shine because he does get the heel heat, but his work is up there. My God, he worked hard in this one, and he took a hell of a beating. Suzuki is on top of his game. Perfectly fun, entertaining, strong, well-worked, well-paced, superb story. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Go out of your way to see this one, guys. JK Schwal left us a super chat. Thank you very much. JK Schwal says, imagine going from feuding with Okada around Dominion time to getting shut out in the G1. Oh, how the mighty Tokyo Beam has fallen. I'm not surprised. And it doesn't bother me either. He can keep losing. He should finish at 0. I'm okay with that. Completely okay with that. And in the main event, we had Kazuchiko Kada defeating Tomohiro Ishii. Strong, super solid match. Of course, you have two of the best tournament guys. Well, you have the best tournament guy in Tomohiro Ishii with one of the best guys overall in the company in the world, in Kazuchiko Okada. Okada, the leader of Chaos. Ishii is the Centurion, the vanguard, I guess, of Chaos. So I mean, they just laid into each other. It was a strong match. Dare I say that Ishii in this match was able to bring the Rainmaker out of hiding? I would do say so, because Okada really felt like Okada again in this match, or at least very close to it. We weren't far away. We weren't far off, that's for sure. Night 16, which is the last one we are going to be talking about today, had Kenta defeating Yoshihashi. Again, another strong match by Yoshihashi. Kenta overselling the butterfly lock, in my opinion, but Yoshihashi has had consistently good matches in the G1. And I'm going to lead into a super chat here that was left to us by JK Schwal again. Thank you very much. He says, desperately need a G1 toilet bowl match between the Tokyo Pimp and Yoshi-Hashi. Would be match of the year candidate. Maybe, probably not. Thank you, JK Schwal, for the super chat. But here's the thing. Despite his poor point total, the story of Yoshi-Hashi's tournament is that it's been really good. He has had a fantastic tournament up until this point. And it's hard to deny. He's had strong, entertaining matches. He's turned it up. The COVID era has been great for our boy. I'm going to find it more and more difficult to rag on him if New Japan keeps pushing him the way that they're doing. And if he keeps delivering, he being Yoshi-Hashi. For real, though. I have nothing to say. There's nothing bad that can be said about his tournament. He ruled. It went super well. Don't let the point total fool you. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Juice Robinson. Here's the deal here. You cheer for Juice, or at least the Japanese crowd, because he's very over with the Japanese crowd. They cheer for Juice because he's so good at being a babyface. And Zack Sabre Jr. is so good twisting him up into knots that, and the way Juice sells it, his facial expressions, it's hard not to get behind Juice. And that's why it worked, because you had such a clear villain and a clear babyface. I know some wrestlers like to say that the heel and face dynamic is an antiquated dynamic, but holy smokes, guys, gals, you can't. Sometimes you just can't beat the basic formulas of storytelling, right? Good heel, good babyface. You get something fun. European Clutch gets the win for Zack Sabre Jr. It was a good one. Naito defeated Yano. This was okay. It was fine. Not on my list of the best Yano comedy matches here, but it was fine. Naito, this was a breather for Naito. Everyone who gets to wrestle Yano is a breather, essentially. And Yano, tries to tape Naito to Tsuji, who's on the outside, but it's a low blow from Naito that gets the win on our boy Yano. Naito going full-on Sublime Master Thief here, so that's something. Evil defeated Hiroki Goto. I'll say this was a good match if you wanted to see the strong powerhouse Evil that we sort of got used to, because the shenanigans were kept at a very minimum. He didn't rely all that much on Dick Togo in this match, but he won a good, strong, decisive win over Goto. Goto put up a hell of a fight. I like it. I definitely liked it. It was good stuff. Sanada then defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi. Good match. I thought it dragged a little. I really think that there's a benefit to Sanada running shorter matches. I really do. There's something missing in his arsenal for the long drawn 20, 25 plus minute New Japan main events. There's something there that's missing. I think for the time being, you could easily shave 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes off of him, and you'd get a really good Sanada match. Tana targeted the legs for the cloverleaf again, but nope, not this time. Sanada winning. So, the standings right now, in Block A, we have a 3-way tie at 12 points. We have Jay White, Kodabushi, and Kazuchiko Kada. Then we have Will Osprey at 10. Taichi, Jeff Cobb are both at 8 points. Rounding out the bottom are Minoru Suzuki, Ishii, and Shingo at 6 points. And Yujiro's at 0. You see how that just rolls off the tongue? That's why he can't win. Yujiro's at 0. Works great. As J.K. Schwal said the mighty Tokyo Pimp has fallen. In Block B, Evil and Naito are tied at 12 points. Sanada and Zack Sabre Jr. are tied at 10. Kenta is at 8, along with Hiroki Goto. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Juice Robinson, and Toru Yano all have 6 points. Can you believe Hiroshi Tanahashi in the G1 Climax 30 is not going to finish the tournament with double digits in his score? Blows my mind. And Yoshi-Hashi at 2 points. But as I said, do not let that score, those points fool you. Do not let that fool you. Yoshihashi had a really good tournament. Don't let it fool you. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. He says, need my Ishii versus Yano G1 roles reversed match next year. Ishii cheating to win and Yano mat wrestling. Those matches always rule. They do. And it's wild when you think, I know exactly what matches you're talking about. And it's wild because Ishii has this very somber presentation. You know, he's like very serious and he never smiles. And he's always like, I'm just here to headbutt you till you die kind of attitude. But it does work. He plays along with it when it's time to wrestle Yano. I thought this was fantastic. Nick Wolf left us a super chat, generous super chat. Thank you very much, Nick Wolf. That was very kind of you. He says, Lord Taichi defeats Ibushi. I think we're talking about results here, and that's what I'm going to get into. He has a plan here. Lord Taichi defeats Ibushi at the block. White defeats Ishii. Sanada beats Evil via returning Guerrillas of Destiny interference. Interesting play to have the Guerrillas of Destiny side with Evil. Sanada beats White in finals via Evil interference. Civil War starts. Sanada versus Naito at Wrestle Kingdom. So I can get behind. I'm all behind a legitimate civil war within the Bullet Club. I know the Elite stuff was like, Bullet Club is fine, all that stuff, but it was essentially just to help separate the Elite from the rest of Bullet Club. Essentially, that's what it was for. But here, an actual power struggle, I dig it. I'd be all in on that. Are you kidding me? And that was not a pun. So tomorrow is the first of the final 2 nights of the G1. So each block has 1 night left. And this is where it gets fun. Because then we start thinking about, okay, who's going to win what, who needs what to win. So in block A, the great block A, which is going to be remembered as a fantastic block. Jay White, if he wants to win the block, he's at 12 points. Let's not forget. He needs to win against Ishii, which is his match, his final match. And if he does, he advances. He has tiebreakers over both Ibushi and Okada, who are at 12 points as well. So all Jay White has to do is win his match. I think it's tomorrow. Ibushi, if he wants to move forward, he needs to defeat Taichi, and he needs Jay White to lose. It doesn't matter if Okada wins because he holds the tiebreaker win over Okada. For Okada to win, he needs to beat Osprey, which is his final opponent. But he needs both Jay White and Kota Ibushi to lose because he doesn't hold any tiebreakers over Ibushi or White. So technically speaking, Jay White has the easiest path to victory. Could be spoiled if Ishii wins, and Ibushi needs to beat Taichi, and White has to lose. That's how he's guaranteed to go forward. The Elite, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Now, there's a chance here that Will Osprey can win, and it's the equivalent of having planetary alignment. Okay, and I want to give a shout out to Danny T in the Discord for helping me through this one because it's a big one. So okay, so remember. White Ibushi and Okada all have 12 points. Osprey has 10. Osprey needs to beat Okada, obviously, with his last opponent. He needs Jeff Cobb. This is odd, but he needs Jeff Cobb to lose to Yujiro Takahashi, the Tokyo Pimp, keeping him at 8 points. That'd keep Cobb at 8 points if he loses to Yujiro. So Yujiro would actually get his first 2 points. And you'll see why this is important in a second. He needs, Osprey needs Ibushi to lose to Taichi, which would bring Taichi to 10 points. And he needs Jay White to lose. Those are the basic conditions. Now, it seems a little convoluted. Why are we talking about Cobb and Taichi needing 10 points? Why is this important? Here's how it goes. Osprey gets 12 points if he wins, ties with Okada, Ibushi, and White if they all lose their matches, right? Osprey has a tiebreaker against White, Ibushi against Osprey, and White against Ibushi. At this point, Okada is out because he has no tiebreakers. But White, Ibushi, and Osprey, they have a triangle, basically, of tiebreakers amongst themselves. So what happens then is, to determine the tiebreaker, we go to the next available score and see who has tiebreakers there. So we go down to 10 points, where Taichi is there with 10 points. So that's where we figure out the tiebreaker. Taichi holds a win over Ibushi. So that would mean that has a loss against Osprey and against Jay White. So that would mean that Ibushi would be kicked out, leaving the two others behind. Osprey has the tiebreaker win over White. Osprey goes forward. That's a bit of a convoluted one, but I don't think it's going to happen because it's just too intricate and it's going to be hard. I think it's just going to be hard to get across on TV in the heat of the moment. But that one's a messy one. Again, thank you, Danny T, in the Discord for helping me through that one. As for Block B, I think it's a little more forward. I tried to look for some intricate possibilities, but I don't think there's any really. Evil to win, he just needs to beat Sanada. He holds the tiebreaker over Naito. So even if Naito wins his match, Evil goes forward. So that's all Evil has to do. Naito to win, he needs to defeat Kenta, who was his last opponent, but he also needs Evil to lose. So he's on a little more thin ice. Sanada, who's at 10 points, he can still be in contention. If he defeats Evil, because it's Evil and Sanada in the final night of Block B. Evil and Sanada, if he beats Evil, he still has a chance, but he needs Naito to lose so he can tie with all of these people because he holds a tiebreaker over Naito, and he also holds the tiebreaker, and he also just defeated Evil, so he has the win over him. Plus, he also holds a tiebreaker over Zack Sabre Jr., who is also at 10 points. Now, for Zack to come, let me read this through. Zack Sabre Jr. at 10 points needs to beat Tanahashi, and he needs Naito, but ultimately he needs Naito, Evil, and Sanada to lose because he holds tiebreakers over Evil, but not Sanada or Naito. Naito holds tiebreakers over Sanada and Zack Sabre Jr., and Sanada holds tiebreakers over Naito, Sanada, and Evil. So I don't think Zack Sabre Jr. is going forward here. And Naito already holds tiebreakers over both Naito and Evil, so it's starting to look like maybe Sanada is in a good position to head to the finals. My prediction, I think we're getting Ibushi, Evil as your winners of the block at this point. I think so. That would be my guess. But we'll know in a couple of days. And I'll probably be doing an early morning, late night stream, depending on what part of the world you're on, or early afternoon, late afternoon, whatever, on Sunday, because that's where the finals of the G1 are going to take place. So I'll probably wake up and do a recap of all of this, and it'll be a good time. Most likely. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much. Says, can't wait to hear Kevin Kelly explain all of that on air. He probably will, or at least Chris Charlton will. At the very least, Chris Charlton will. But thank you very much for the super chat. Anakin left us another super chat. Thank you again, Anakin. He says, that was some Steiner level of math, brother. Thank you very much. I'm horrible at math. If Kristen was here, she'd probably correct me on a bunch of mistakes I made because she's much better than I am. But thank you, Anakin, for the super chat. And Nick Wolf left us another super chat. Thank you again, Nick. He says, your Wrestle Kingdom lineup is Okada, Osprey, Naito, Sanada, and White Evil. Book it, folks. I think it's Naito Ibushi. I follow you on Okada Osprey. I follow you on White Evil. But I think we're getting Naito Ibushi. I think that's the money match for your biggest show of the year. I really do. Unless Naito pulls double duty and defends his 2 titles separately, which I think might be a possibility. They need to do the double strap. They have to get rid of the double strap stuff. And I would definitely see, at the very least, Sanada picking up a win on the IC title. That's where I think. I want to say hello to Goodfella1422. Welcome to the chat. There we go. Actually, this was our final G1 Weekly recap. So I'd like us to take a pause here. Press F in the chat as the music plays. No, wait. Okay, it was funny once, but it's not funny anymore. There we go. I missed a prediction super chat from Evan Wright. Let me just roll through here. Yes. Yes, I apologize, Evan. One last note on the G1. Absolutely. I do apologize. The super chats have been coming in from everywhere. I do apologize. That being said, thank you all for being very, very, very generous this evening. I really appreciate it. Evan says, I'm so unbelievably excited for the G1 final nights. All 10 matches, including Yujiro versus Cobb and Yoshi-Hashi versus Yano. Sanada versus Ibushi final is Evan's big prediction, which is not a bad prediction. I can get behind that as well. But I don't know. I think Evil has an easy way in, and I think he's going to take it. He's going to double down on it. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see where it goes. Yes, I do love my theme song. Wouldn't be my theme song if I didn't like it. So let's pull up some cool beans. How about that? I got to watch the GCW collective shows this weekend. And honestly, like, there's something in there for everyone. Anakin JMT left us. Thank you, Anakin. And he says, Botchamania strikes again. Now, come on now. Come on now. It's not that big a deal. Wasn't that big a botch, was it? No, it was not. So let's just get on with it. So there's really something for everyone in the GCW shows. If you like the goofiness, if you like more serious type of wrestling, like it really caters to a whole bunch of tastes that you don't necessarily are able to get if you watch WWE and you're looking for something else. Even if you're watching New Japan and you're a big fan like I am, not quite as much. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. We saw a lot of Alex Shelley that weekend, who's looking better than he's ever been. My God, I know everyone who watches Impact are all impressed with how great he looks, but I got to see him, do some solo work here. My God, he's so good. Then just really quickly, let me talk about a few matches here. First and foremost, like if you were to ask me, we're gonna be like, Warren, if I only had the time, the money, the disposition, the interest to watch one show, which one should it be? And I will answer you without missing a heartbeat that it is the For the Culture show. I don't think we're going to get a better indie show this year. It was absolutely fantastic from top to bottom. I'm not going to run through the entire card, but we had JTG versus Trey Mcgill. This at the original For the Culture show. It was supposed to be Trey Mcgill versus Shad Gaspard. We know what unfortunately happened to Shad in the meantime, so his former tag team partner JTG stepped in, and by God, it was really, really good. Trey Mcgill, man, he is the real deal. He really has this kid has something special, and he's so polished, so smooth with what he does. It was really good. JTG ended the match with a move that he calls the Brooklyn's Edge. It is a running razor's edge into a neck breaker. It was the wildest shit. When someone pulls off a move and you're like, I was not expecting anything remotely like this. Fantastic stuff. Great match. Trish Adora, who is the Pan-African World Diaspora Champion, successfully defended her title against Suj D. Pineapple Pete. Super strong, stiff match between them both. Pineapple Pete was not holding back. Suj was all over her, but Adora fought back. This was really, really good. Fantastic intergender match. When a proper intergender match where, it's not like, oh, I'm fighting a woman, goofiness. No, they're just laying into each other. Good stuff. We also had ACH versus Lee Moriarty. The fucking banger of a match. So good. Main event was AR Fox versus Too Cold Scorpio. Too Cold Scorpio brought it. That's the thing. He was motivated. He wanted to do something good, and it was amazing. AR Fox is a fantastic high flyer. This was everything it was hyped up to be. Scorpio still wanted to do stuff where he put his life in danger, and that was amazing. AR Fox was fine, bumping like his time had arrived to move on to the Choir Celestial. It was awe-inspiring. It was the big spots. This was what the match was all about. Crowd was into it. AR Fox is great. Scorpio brought it. Good shit, pal. Like I said, you have one match to watch the entire weekend. One show to watch of the entire 3 days of the collective. That's the one. Joey Janela's Spring Break was a lot of fun too. Spring Break number 4 started off with Orange Cassidy as a surprise appearance to answer super heel Ricky Shane Page's open challenge. That got the crowd into it straight off the bat. I thought it was a great way to start the show. Orange Cassidy picked up the win. Jonathan Gresham versus Lee Moriarty. Lee Moriarty, man, he has got to be on everyone's... he has to be on your radar. I don't care who you are. If you like professional wrestling, this guy is a guy you have to keep your eyes on. Fantastic stuff. Wrestled Gresham, who is a fantastic wrestler in and about itself, outstanding, two of the absolute best on the independent circuit right now. And Gresham put him over at the end. Grabbed the mic, put him over, says that you're one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, one of the greatest wrestlers out here right now, maybe not of all time, but out here. Coming from Jonathan Gresham, that does mean something. Then we had ACH versus Leo Rush. And you remember a few months ago when Leo Rush was telling us that he was retiring, that he was done with wrestling? I'm going to tell you, and I tweeted this out, and after watching this match, the world of wrestling is better off with Leo Rush in it. Trust me on that. This match was so much fun. It was so good. And when you look at Leo Rush go, unchained, unshackled, you're like, WWE really was holding him back. WWE was holding him back. And I just don't know why. We had Joey Janela versus Ricky Morton. It was fun. It was, one of Janela's. Janela always has like this, this big attraction match, that always turned out to be really fun. Ricky Morton here, of course, he's in his 60s. He can't wrestle as much, but he can still pull off Canadian destroyers and put on a great match. This was a lot of fun. I dug it. And of course, it was designed to piss off the people that wanted to be pissed off by this match. Joey Janela knows exactly what he's doing. It was fantastic. I thought the clusterfuck was a little bit long, and I thought it dragged down the show quite a bit, but otherwise, good stuff. Shimmer 118 also happened here. The women of Shimmer. Heather Monroe versus Layla Hirsch was a good match. If only to acquaint yourself with Heather Monroe. My God, that woman is good. She is so good at what she does. I want to match her versus Zoe Lucas. Please. It's going to be, it'd be really, really good. Had some great tag team action too. You had the Bird and the Bee, who are Solo Darling and Willow Nightingale. They defeated Kayla Cassidy and Sierra. Solid tag team match. At Team C Stars, Ashley Vox and Delmi Exo. They're the tag team champions. They defeated Allison Kay and Marty Bell. Great match. 4 super talented women. It was great. Lacey Ryan defeated Davien. Wasn't super familiar with Lacey Ryan's work, but she's something special too. If there's anything that'll come that stands out for me over the weekend, Lacey Ryan, discovering Lacey Ryan and how good of a worker she is, that was a big deal for me. Davian is great as well. Main event was Kimberly defending her Shimmer Championship against Nicole Savoy. I thought it was good. Maybe a tad long. I would have shaved off a little time. It went like 20 minutes or so. I think they had a good 15-minute match in there. It dragged a bit. But these are two, oh my God. Kimberly and Nicole Savoy, forget about it. It's as good as you think it might be as you think about these two women wrestling each other. And there was, of course, the big blood sport event. There was the big blood sport event. My favorite match of the night, Homicide versus Filthy Tom Lawler. Filthy Tom Lawler. That was good. That was a fight. And Homicide was ready to beat up the fool. It was so much fun. My match of the night, unquestionably. Of course, main event was John Moxley versus Dirty Dickinson. Chris Dickinson. That was fun. I thought it was great. And Mox got a hell of a reaction. Chris Dickinson looked great. And he looked great next to Mox, in that if anything, I think Chris Dickinson, even though he lost the match, comes out the big winner because he looked like a star next to a star, like a bona fide wrestling superstar. Dickinson is not going to be hanging around the indies for very long. There's already rumors that he's going to pop up in AEW. Stop signing guys, people, in AEW, though. I love Chris Dickinson, don't get me wrong, but stop signing people. Use the ones you have already, and sign more women, because there were a lot of women here who deserve a spot on your roster. Let me tell you that. Anyway, good main event. And Davey Boy Smith just creamed Josh Alexander. And I think Davey Boy Smith slimmed down. He looks leaner, not quite as puffed up. Looked good. I think he looked good, and he came out as a monster. Fantastic stuff. So there's also great stuff like the AEW match as well. Card was very good. Effie's Brunch was good as well, but Effie's Brunch is one that I always have his big gay brunch. I always have trouble recommending it because there's a lot of shenanigans, and there's a lot of stuff that ends up on Twitter that people get mad about. I think you know what kind of stuff I mean. If you're into the lighter side of stuff and not taking wrestling too seriously, go right ahead. But if dancing during matches and tomfoolery annoys you, if you're a member of the Cult of Cornet, don't watch it, because it's just going to make you angry and you're going to feel like you wasted your money. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was good as well. It was a great evening of wrestling. Too bad about all the COVID. Too bad. But that's a whole other story. Okay. Let's talk about the WWE Draft. I'm going to give you guys some. I'm not going to talk much about WWE outside of the draft. I'm going to tell you. I think WWE is in a very, very, very poor place right now. Creatively speaking, I think it's in a very, very poor place. And I think SmackDown is doing a pretty good job. I think Raw is the pits. And our boy Garrett Kidney over on Twitter, who you should follow, sent out a tweet. It's like, sign my petition to make fun of Raw 2020, just like we used to make fun of WCW in 2000. And I agree. the booking decisions, the shenanigans that happened on Monday, there's so much stuff that just doesn't make sense and is convoluted and forced and unnatural, and it's not clicking. And they're trying. And I'll tell you, Raw and SmackDown, the highlights of both shows were matches. There were two matches. On Friday night, it was Big E versus Sheamus in that great brawl that they had. And on Monday, it was Aleister Black versus Kevin Owens, which was a fantastic match. Those are the highlights, not moments, not scripted events, matches, goddammit. So, but WWE doesn't like to deal in matches. It likes to deal in moments. So that's always what we end up talking about. That's what the draft is about, creating these moments here. Andrew Ardeezy, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. So that's what I'm going to be talking about, because there's not much match-wise to talk about. Everything is pretty average or ends up being somewhat disappointing. So let's talk about the spectacle as opposed to the menu. What's on the menu, right? Let's go right ahead with the draft. This is how the rosters are going to look like moving forward. On Raw, we're going to have Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, R-Truth, AJ Styles, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, Braun Strowman, Matt Riddle, Jeff Hardy, Keith Lee, Ricochet, Elias, Sheamus, Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo, Drew Gulak, Tucker, Dabba-Kato, Titus O'Neil, Akira Tozawa, Riddick Moss, Arturo Ruas, and Eric No Ivar. As far as the women go, we're going to have Asuka, Charlotte Flair, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce, and Lana. As far as the tag teams go, they've got the New Day, but just Kofi and Xavier. I'm going to touch on that slightly in a few minutes. The Hurt Business, The Miz and John Morrison, Retribution, and Lucha House Party. As far as the women's tag teams go, Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax have been drafted, and Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. On the SmackDown side, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, Big E, Aleister Black, Apollo Crews, Otis, Murphy, Kalisto, Lars Sullivan, King Corbin, and Shorty G. As far as the women go, singles on the singles side, we have Bayley, Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Carmella, Natalya, Zelina Vega, Billie Kay, and Tamina. Tag teams for the men, the Street Profits, Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, Dolph and Robert Roode, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, which were drafted as a tag team, dad and son, father and son. Shit, I wanted to do a Cat Stevens reference, but I can't remember the lyrics. Fuck! Missed opportunity. For the women's tag teams, well, the Riot Squad. That settles it up. And as we stand right now, if I'm not mistaken, Andrade and Mickie James have not been drafted. Fucking Andrade, Cien Almas, who came in last year hitting extraordinary matches with AJ Styles and a fantastic feud with Rey Mysterio, is not drafted. And Mickie James, that just boggles my mind. And we still have Becky Lynch, Jimmy Uso, Ivar, Sonya Deville, Edge, Jinder Mahal, Samoa Joe, Mojo Rawley, The Forgotten Sons, Bo Dallas, Big Show, John Cena, Bill Goldberg, Ronda Rousey, and The Undertaker, who have not been drafted. I can name one guy in there who can stay undrafted for the rest of my waking life. I'll let you figure out who. Let's start by Anakin JMT left us a super chat, by the way. Thank you very much, Anakin. Again, very kind of you again tonight. He says, remember when Raw was good at the beginning of this year? Yeah, I do. And SmackDown wasn't good, and then it sort of pivoted. And then SmackDown at some point was really good, and Raw tanked. It's as if we can't get both shows to be good at once. It's really strange. But yes, I do remember. Feels like an era ago. But yeah, it's only at the beginning of the year. Okay, out of all of this, there's a couple of good scenarios, a couple of wins here. Bianca Belair on SmackDown, I think, is fantastic. I think SmackDown is going to benefit strongly from having her there, as long as they keep her out of vignettes and don't have her do the same thing over and over again. I think she's a strong addition to the SmackDown side. There's a lot of good women there, but it's a little light. You know, Bayley, Sasha, they're fantastic. Carmella, if they rebuild her right and they let her wrestle, not be a chicken shit heel, she's good. Natalya, it's always a question of how much damage is done to her credibility after all these years. Zelina, Billie Kay, Tamina, they're there to take out to eat pins. That's what they're there for. So I think it's a good move to put Bianca there. It'll do her some change from. It'll be a good idea to keep her off the Raw roster. Yeah, I'm okay with that. The Fiend and Alexa Bliss on Raw, I think, is also a very good idea. First of all, I'm glad that they're keeping that partnership going, and that they're going to go deeper into it. I like it. It makes sense to me. I feel like they're starting to bring the Fiend, making the Fiend feel like he's important again, slowly. I think this is a good move for Alexa Bliss as well. Even though I did find the zombie Alexa Bliss stuff to be somewhat corny, sort of psychotic, possessed, brainwashed, whatever you want to call her, Alexa Bliss. I kind of dig it. I think it works, and she's been doing great work with her. And Elias is back, cracking a guitar on the back of Jeff Hardy because he thinks that Jeff Hardy ran him over with a car, despite the fact that it was proven on television that it wasn't him who ran Elias over with the car. But WWE doesn't want us to remember that, because WWE will never reward us for watching long term and trying to make sense of this. They prefer things to remain illogical. So it's not. So Elias hasn't been watching the show at all since being taken out. See, that kind of shit just doesn't make sense to me. So those were some good wins here. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much, DGMC. He says, when was the last time both brands were good? That's a good question. Drop some ideas, chat. Give us some examples. I can't quite remember, but it's a very good question. I can't pick out something unless we're starting to go really, really way back in time. But there's been, look, the draft is a lot of lipstick on a pig, is what it is. There's nothing really exciting that comes out of the draft. I don't think anyone is excited looking at these new setups and being like, "Ooh, look at all these fresh things," because this is one of the victims of the draft this year. Oh boy, that's a Freudian slip right there. You'd think that they take advantage of the draft to create some fresh matchups, some new angles, try some stuff out. But they moved the entire Mysterio Seth Rollins angle over to SmackDown. When SmackDown drafted Seth last Friday, I was like, oh, daring. But then, they're drafting Mysterio and Dominic and Buddy Murphy. I'm like, what the fuck? Why did you even bother? Why did you bother? Like, there's nothing exciting out of that. There's nothing that makes you go, ooh, this is interesting. No, it's the same thing under a veneer of something that is supposed to be exciting. It doesn't work. Splitting heavy machinery up. And I don't understand. They had such a good thing with Mandy and Otis and Tucker in the background, and then Sonya eventually coming back. I don't know why. It still boggles my mind why they decided to split up Mandy and Otis. I really don't. Oh, because The Miz. No, at some point when you have formulas that work, God damn it, use them. Use your formulas that work. Don't try to make something new out of something that's doesn't need to be refreshed. I still believe that the Otis angle, the Mandy and Otis angle, was the most compelling thing that WWE had done for the beginning part of the year, late 2019 into 2020. And it worked on the strengths of everyone involved. And because it was well written, it didn't take us for imbeciles. It was well executed. And it played off of Otis's strengths. It played off of Sonya's and Dolph's and Mandy's. It all connected. I had said much much doubt that this would turn into a Sonny Godwin's situation, but it didn't. Now it's as if it never happened, and Otis is just a big old goofball. I don't get it. And now he's left alone. They broke up Heavy Machinery. Why would you break up a tag team when you desperately need tag teams? It boggles my mind, man. Boggles my mind. But if you want to talk about breaking stuff up that boggles my mind, if you actually want to talk about stuff that, that you decide, hey, let's just move this aside here and make sure that, let's just make sure that this doesn't exist as a unit anymore. Just go ahead and break up the New Day, right? Sure. Break up the New Day. Why would you break up the fucking New Day? Why would you? Okay. I don't know how to start this one off. But when it happened, I lost my mind. I don't understand why they did it. And I still don't. And I had time to step back and think about it and let it poison my mind. But I don't understand. The New Day have been systematically one of the most consistently over acts in the company. All three of them together. They have been pushed and produced in ways where you feel like those three guys are a unit and they're a team and it's sincere. They are three guys who look out for each other. They are three friends who travel and do everything together and make decisions together, who go to negotiate their contracts together. They look out for each other. And that comes across on television. They are a legitimately good babyface trio. Why, in the name of God's green earth, would you say to yourself, let's split them up? Why would you do that? Why would you send Big E on one side and Xavier and Kofi on the other? Oh, Big E is going to be okay with this big singles push. Here's the thing. I am convinced, 100% convinced, that these are all these assholes, and I'm calling them assholes. It's rare that I'm going to really take a stance on some fans' opinions, but this is what it is. But I apologize if you fall into that category. I like to think of like a faceless mass of people as opposed to one specific person. But look, assholes who are out there who are telling us, trying to convince us, Kofi Kingston is not a serious champion. He should act seriously, like JR. Remember that? He should stop flipping pancakes and act like a champion. Why would you change something that got him over? Why would you change that to something that wouldn't make him over? Why would you change the formula? Why would you change it? I don't understand. That's why they kept Kofi with the colors and the skipping entrance and the pancakes, because that is what got Kofi Kingston over. Look at what they did with Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley was over right up until she won the NXT Championship, and then she stopped being a badass. Then she became this wide-eyed, smiling champion. I'm just happy to be a champ. Look at me sitting here in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers arena, the stadium, and I can't believe the immensity of this. I'm so lucky. Then we were like, what is Rhea Ripley anymore? We don't care about her anymore. It's not because she becomes a champion that she has to change her personality. She got to that point because she acted a certain way. She got herself over using a certain personality. Now, I am convinced that there are people in WWE who are saying to themselves, well, Big E has to be a serious champion if he wants to. He has to act seriously if he wants to be considered a credible champion. And if we're going to do that, well, we have to split him up from the New Day, because the New Day, they're goofballs, which is ridiculous. Big E got himself over again by being Big E with the innuendos and the ridiculous hip swaying and all the little snide remarks that he makes. He's funny. He's a funny, witty guy. Are you going to... let's go back some more. Do we really want, and be honest with me, do we really want Big E Langston, NXT Big E Langston? Is that the guy we want as a champion? Now, if you had the choice between Big E Langston and New Day Big E, I'll take New Day Big E any day. Big E Langston, sure, big power moves, so on and so forth, the 5 count instead of the 3 count, that's all fantastic. But Big E, as he was created, as he developed in the New Day, is the guy we want to get the singles push. He's the guy that we were like, I can't wait for the Big E singles push. I can't wait for the Big E singles push. We're getting it. We're taking steps back if we start to make him more serious. And this is what I'm fearing. And again, when I tweeted it out, I had people on Twitter telling me, oh, just give it a chance. I think it'll be good. A little changes can't be that bad. Why? This is the WWE. This is the perfect example of what WWE likes to do. Their new motto in my mind is, if it ain't broke, let's fix it. There's no reason. There's nothing fresh out of Big E being alone. What does Big E alone, in the dynamic that they had established with the New Day, what does Big E alone have to bring more? What does he have to bring to the table more? How is that fresher? How is that more interesting? When Kofi had his singles push, he was alone in the New Day while the 2 other guys were still doing their things, but they were still a trio and it still worked. It just boggles my mind. It boggles my mind because then WWE will say, the fans don't know we know what we want, and you don't listen to the fans. You just don't. They sell merch, they get pops, the adults like them, the kids love them. Why would you even try this? I expect within 2 weeks, Big E has new entrance music. And there's no, city, wherever you are. None of that. Maybe 3. But that's where we're going. And it pisses me off. It really does. Injection 2K left us a super chat. Thank you, Injection. He says, watch them try to pair Big E up with the Street Profits. Yeah, you know what? If Big E ever ends up in some kind of trio with anyone else, I'll be the first to point it out. And Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you very much. And he had predicted it. He had announced it. Says, let me announce it for you now. Hot trash, breaking up the New Day. Oh, yeah, it is such hot trash. I could go on, but I also want to talk about some fun stuff. Apollo Crews. Again, a draft. Apollo Crews changes brands. Every time there's a draft, he gets switched around. So is he going to SmackDown for greener pastures? Sure as hell hope so, but he just came from SmackDown and wasn't turning out too well for him. And what's going on with his push? I'm starting to feel like WWE is training me again not to get behind an Apollo Crews push. And trading the tag team titles? Why should we give a shit about titles if WWE isn't bothered to give us a reason for the titles to switch? Why, first and foremost, why did you switch the teams? Why did you switch the champions and then have Adam Pearce like, okay, so to crown the new champions, all you have to do is whoop. That's bullshit. And that is disrespect. If you're not going to be interested in your titles and not take them seriously, why should we as an audience take them seriously? If you can just pass the hat. I think it's bullshit. Bullshit. But you know what isn't? Hey, Spin the Wheel, Make the Deal is back on Halloween Havoc. I'm going to warm soda this, though. I got excited. I got a pop. Shotzi Blackheart is the host. I mean, I like Shotzi. I love her. But her the way she came out, it was a little cringe. We weren't quite there, right? But my God, spin the wheel, make the deal is there. Look, we're this close to having the perfect Halloween Havoc. We have the wheel. If we have someone entirely disguised in toilet paper and a botched fireball spot, it is going to be the penultimate Halloween Havoc. I'm digging it. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with this in 2 weeks. Jason PS3, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Something that I really like is what they're doing with Killian Dane and Drake Maverick. I didn't think I would. I really didn't think I was going to like it, but it turns out that it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And you know what makes them great? I'm going to tell you what makes them great. What makes the pairing great? It's Rockstar Spud. It's Drake Maverick being allowed to be Rockstar Spud. That's what's making it so good, because he has the comedy chops. He knows how to work it. He knows he has great comedic timing. He's able to be ridiculous and fine as a wrestler too. On top of that, the vignette last night with the marketing materials and the swatches and the name reveals and the whole thing with the music, I love it. I think it works. And you know what's cool is that the dynamic between Drake and Dane isn't perfect, because they're still losing matches, right? So it's not like suddenly they're together and they're doing this magic and they're going to be the next tag team champions. It's still like, no, they've got kinks to work out, but I think it's really good. I think they're doing a great job with that. Let's keep going with more cool beans. FTR versus the Best Friends. Look, FTR get another really good win. And you know what makes them great? The fact that they stick to fundamentals. And I talked about it last night on the Wednesday night podcast, because I've seen people talk about how FTR matches are always the same. Basically always cutting off a guy and making sure that the guy never reaches his corner, which is what you're supposed to do in a tag team match, right? You don't want the other guy to tag. So I'm like, what is the problem? I get what they mean, I think, is that the structure is always pretty much the same, but the execution is what makes it special. And FTR, when they're cutting the guy off from his partner and making sure that he doesn't get to the ring, not to the ring, but to the corner to tag his partner in. They're always doing it with a sense of urgency. They're always like plotting and planning and quick tags in and out. I love it, and it is very, very much more old school. And the only thing that I think that can explain that maybe people don't like this type of wrestling is because maybe because they're more used to the style that the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros bring to the table, which is okay too. But I think it's okay to have variety in your tag team styles, because there is a variety of tag team wrestling out there, and AEW is a great proponent of that, and FTR is fantastic. And Best Friends pulled it all out. The Soul Food half and half suplex combo, Strong Zero. They tried everything, couldn't put FTR away, and they needed to cheat because they're the heels. I like it. You know what else I like? Cody Rhodes versus Orange Cassidy. I thought this was great. I thought it was a really, really good match. Love how Cassidy came out to his, in his usual slovenly way, But it had, once Cody slapped the glasses off of him, the aviators off of his face, Cassidy was like, okay, I'm turned on now. Let's do it. The switch is on. Well, not turned on. The switch is on. I mean, if he got turned on, no shaming here. That's not what I want. That wasn't my intention. That's all I'm trying to say. But I thought this was a really good match, and we got everything here. Stun Dog Millionaire, Cody Cutter, a reverse superplex, a Michinoku driver, a figure four leg lock, a couple of beach breaks that went to the time limit draw. I thought it was really, really, really good. Now, the problem that I have, though, I'm going to move on here to hot trash, or at least warm soda. No, I think hot trash is a little, because I still want to give some benefit of the doubt, but come on, AEW, there's some things that you're doing now that I'm not quite digging, that is feeling a little weird, maybe a little lazy, maybe a little uninspired, maybe a little too much like the competition, but things that I don't like when the other company does, that you're starting to do, and I'm like giving Orange Cassidy another shot at the TNT title 2 weeks after he lost an opportunity at the same TNT title, and then giving him another opportunity 2 weeks from now. It's a little weird. Now, I get that the TNT title doesn't run with the rankings, but to me, look, we bitch about it when wrestlers lose matches, then end up in championship match situations. I don't know, man. I'm not crazy about it. The steak dinner next week, I'm very iffy on it, and this is something that I'm it's a case I'm building. I'm building a case here, but I think that they're going a little too hard with MJF and the quirkiness, the zaniness. One of the things that makes MJF so special is his capacity to gain heat just by being himself, his own personality. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I didn't think the presidential thing helped the AEW, the build, to All Out against Jon Moxley. And I don't think that steak dinners and this overwrought stuff with Jericho is going to help either. I think it's going a little too far. We'll see what happens. But to me, being in us, we're having a steak dinner is kind of like Lana and Lashley go on a date next week. And I'm like, why? Why am I watching this? That's the only reason. That's why I'm asking. Why should I be interested in a steak dinner? I don't know. The arcade cabinet. Why? Again, a little too kooky wooky for me. Be out there and then crash through it, and the angle that came around. Picking 4 random tag teams to be in a 4-way match when you do have rankings. The Young Bucks story never advancing either. I don't know why the Young Bucks are angry. Oh yeah. BT. I don't know why the Young Bucks are angry. I want them to explain it on Dynamite. Don't make me read the novels to make me understand the movie. You know what I mean? And the rankings, this is what I find that AEW is slowly straying away from. But I feel confident that they can bring it back because they've shown me that they can rehabilitate, that they can take things that aren't working and spin it around. So I have faith, which is why I'm not going full hot trash here. They're moving away from the more sports-like presentation, and they're going into more entertaining areas. What I like about Dynamite when I talk about it, and it's the same thing like when I talk about New Japan, you have to talk about the matches. You want to talk about the matches because those are the centerpieces. You don't have 15-minute promos all the time. You don't have 6 minutes of flashbacks. You don't have moments. You have matches. That's something I'm sure that that a lot of you have observed. I don't talk a lot about the matches on Raw because there's not much to talk about because they're not great. There's a lot of filler around them, but the matches are very, very bare, which is the opposite with AEW because you get 10, 15, 20-minute matches on TV that take up the bulk of your programming, and that's why you tune in, and that's what's fun to talk about. That's what you're going to talk about. WWE doesn't want you to talk about the matches, ultimately. They want to talk about how Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley almost electrocuted themselves that one time. That's ultimately what they want you to talk about. And I'm just putting that out there. And I'm not shitting on anyone. I'm just saying I just want this to be rehabilitated. DGMC left us a super chat. Thank you very much again. DGMC says, if it's at Longhorn Steakhouse, I'm 150% on board. I agree. That'd be great, right? But he has no title to lose this time. Evan Wright left us a super chat as well. Thank you again. Evan says that Shotzi promo was awful. Yes, too contrived. Howl, Shotzi. You're like a werewolf. You're like a werewolf. Oh, and Cool Beans again. Moxley versus Archer ruled. I thought it was great. You know what I like about Moxley's matches is I feel like they're built off of a very New Japan-ish type of pattern where, you know, they're going to start in the ring and then they're going to go out, they're going to throw themselves into the barricades, and they're going to fight really strong with each other back in the ring, and it's going to crescendo. I like the structure of John Moxley's defenses, how they're put together. I really do. I think they're great. And of course the Eddie Kingston angle after, which means that we're getting more Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. And boy, I'd take 2 plates of that. 2 platefuls of John Moxley and Eddie Kingston, please. 1 for each hand. There we go, folks. That was our weekly wrestling inspection. I'm going to wrap things up. I know I wanted to talk about the PWI Women's 100, but we still have time. And look, if you want to hear me talk about it, and you want to hear talk about it, check out the reveal on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. It's also on podcast applications as well, so you can listen to it. You can listen to it there as well. You can definitely get into that. Right there. That'll be good. That'll be for you. Just before we leave, I want to point out, a couple of weeks ago, I had an interview with Jason King, who was one of the co-founders of Reach Wrestling in the UK. All right, let's read this super chat just before we get it. Speaking of werewolf, join the Discord so we can play a game of werewolf-like game Among Us. Yes, join the Discord. Come play Among Us with us in the Discord. We're always looking for players. Thank you for the plug, Anakin. Thank you for the super chat. Reach Wrestling, as I was saying, Jason King, I had an interview with him a couple of weeks ago. Reach Wrestling, he's the co-founder of it, along with another UK-based wrestler named Grayson Reeves, who looks a lot like Chris Hero, if you ask me. And I had a great interview with him. They're a small promotion based out of the south of the UK, and they're doing their best to get back into action on COVID, and they've started their own Friday night wrestling show on YouTube where they air new episodes every week. There's even, if you've been around the podcast game for the past couple of years, our boy Omega Luke, who used to have a wrestling podcast, he actually trains with them at the academy, at their Reach Academy, where they train upcoming wrestlers. And I asked him about his thoughts, him being Jason King. I asked him about his thoughts on what it means to train wrestlers, in considering the state of Brit wrestling, everything that's been happening over the past 18 months or so with the speaking out movement that hit them hard, how he feels like that. And I just want to run you a clip because I was very, very impressed with this answer. Jason King, Reach Wrestling. How is there no audio? I'm sorry if the audio is not working. Everything's reading out on my end. I apologize. I have no idea. So, well, listen, The interview is also available on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. Go check it out. They're doing great stuff over there at Reach Wrestling, and be sure to subscribe to their channel. Check out their wrestling, the wrestling show on Friday nights. New stuff. There's some names that you might recognize in there as well, such as Millie McKenzie, Giselle Shaw, who wrestled for them. It's fantastic stuff. So yeah, there we go. Go check that out, and we're going to wrap this one up for tonight. We're just going to wrap this one up for the evening. We're done here, and I'm going to head on over to the Patreon to talk more about the state of professional wrestling. I'm going to talk about wrestling theme songs in WWE and why they're so poor at it. Piss poor. Come and join us, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. Thank you all so very much for tuning in again this evening. I'll see you next time.